Hello and welcome to Sink or Swim with the Otaku Clubhouse. My name is Akuma Soul, and I'm joined by Bancho Gato, Mr. Felix656,
What's up?
and Hawkeyser the Final Brave.
Good evening, my friends.
So we quite literally just finished watching Jujutsu Kaisen, an anime that I think has a decent amount of hype behind it, because if I'm remembering right, Jujutsu Kaisen is actually one of the new, and I cannot put a big enough air quote around this, one of the new big three from Shonen Jump. The reason I put air quotes around this is because this is one of those upcoming and rising Shonen Jump mangas. I believe that it is also up there with Chainsaw Man, which everybody seems to be losing their minds about, and the anime or the manga that everybody was losing their minds about. What was it called again? Act Age. Everybody remember that? Everybody remember Act Age? Yes?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never heard of Act Age a day in my life, and I don't think anybody else has either, so let's just stick to this one.
No, that is forbidden.
Well, let me just cut to the chase and say, I thought that was a pretty good first episode. What'd you guys think? What'd you guys think about Jujutsu Kaisen?
It was alright. It had first episode syndrome for a little bit, where you have to establish the main character and his little personality. I liked it. I thought it was at the very least, it had an interesting sort of world building with the curses and how they're establishing their sort of battle rules with curse power. The monster designs actually look scary, like a monster's supposed to look. One thing it didn't have was like the girls, not highs. Don't look for no wife.
I mean,
there was one female character really introduced, so I don't know what you're looking for. You're probably gonna have to wait. As we saw by the opening, some characters that have yet to be introduced, such as the fucking panda.
Yeah, that was something that now I'm kind of looking forward to. The opening cinematic for Jujutsu Kaisen was really weird because it was like there was like so much 3D CG spliced in with the 2D animation, but it seemed to blend together better than almost any 2D and 3D I've seen I'd say probably ever, honestly. Like, you could tell when it was 3D CG, but it didn't look out of place. You know?
Yeah.
It's not like Alice to Zodioku, where the 3D CG was fucking terrible. It looked like Playmobil. Or Phoenix Wright, where it also looked like a fucking Playmobil.
Well, I just had bad animation in general. I really liked... Well, I'm not going to say really liked. I liked the protagonist. Yuya? Was it Yuya?
UG.
UG, yes. See, I didn't really like him. I would have remembered his name. Yuji seems like, I guess, pretty typical for this era of Shonen Jump protagonist. He has his quirks, right? He's super diesel. He's athletic, but yet he's not a jock or anything. He hangs out with like a really ugly dude and a really nerdy looking female. Who, by the way, that is the only female character they've introduced, and she gets groped in the first episode, so I'm sure all those anime Twitter feminists will have something negative to say about that.
They can go and fucking suck off somebody. I don't care right now.
Wow,
Continue,
offensive. Though. And he's just like unusually strong. Like, without any power-ups that we know of. In this episode, he casually breaks a world record, jumps up, what would you say, like 8 or 10 stories, kicks through a window and starts beating up some of these demons that show up, dude. It's just like, and that's before he eats the super beef jerky. I don't know, I kind of like him.
I feel he has, and I'm drawing some early parallels. I'm not going to say that this is exact, but I feel he has some slight parallels to Asta.
Don't do it.
See, hang on. The reason I'm saying this is because it feels like he is the strong, physically, really good-hearted, but not a dope type of character. That's something that people always make the mistake with when they consider certain characters, like Asta, is that they're a dope, that they're kind of an idiot. Yuji doesn't seem to be an idiot. He doesn't seem to be, like, lacking in intelligence. He just seems kind of free-spirited.
I wouldn't compare him to Asta because a big part of Asta's establishing character moment, even in the first episode, and if you compare these head to head, is that Asta was a very obvious underdog, right? Yuya seems like he's actually he's ahead of the curve. Oh my fucking god! Yuji seems like he's kind of ahead of the curve, like socially, physically, and even I guess intelligence-wise, he's not stupid. Like, he understands what the rival character. Do you know his name?
Fushiguro.
He understood what that character was saying to him almost immediately about the hidden world of curses and demons and all that shit, and he applied it immediately. One pretty good standout moment from this episode is when Yuji is in the hospital with his grandfather, who is presumably in hospice care. He's like end of life, and his grandfather's like got no visitors, got no fucking friends, got no family. Yuji's the only one there. His grandfather just says, like, you know what? You need to be a better person than me and just save the people who you can save, even if it's just a few people. Because at the end of your life, you don't want to be all alone like I am. The nigga just turns over and then just dies on command. And that was pretty strong moment, dude.
Yeah, it was genuinely, like, I'd say, and this is going to sound maybe a little, like, people might be able to come back and say this is relatively hyperbolic, but I feel like that's one of the most sobering deaths in an anime I'd seen in a while. It doesn't come with any grandiose moment or sad music or even, like zero fanfare. It's just an old man who, he says he doesn't have any friends, he only has his grandson, and that's it, and nobody else would come to see him, so he just rolls over in his bed and dies. It's fucking sobering as fuck. It's on it, like, it was really, really well done.
Yeah, it's definitely leaving a strong impression for a first episode. It doesn't feel like a shovelware first episode where it's throwing, it's an anime at you. It seems like it's actually, trying to be a jumping off point for the series. And it's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I think the way that they fight with the curses was pretty cool. The way the guy was summoning little demon dogs to fight against the monsters.
Kind of remind me of Chainsaw Man, actually, in a way. Like, if you know, you know. But no.
Well, eventually Chainsaw Man is going to get an anime. There's another anime that is coming out, and I'm going to make this quick so we don't get too far off track. It's called Kemono Jihen, and that and Jujutsu Kaisen are basically the ones that I am, like, kind of more hopeful when it comes to Shonen Jump in the future, especially Kemono Jihen. I thought the animation for it, being MAPPA, was pretty fucking great. Not the character design, but the art direction for the character design, especially for the one female who was friends with Yuji, reminded me a lot of Parasite. Like, that girl could have just been put in the Parasite. And in fact, I think there was a character in Parasite that looked exactly like her. And it's also perfect, like, for the monster designs because it reminds me of Ushio and Tora. MAPPA and all.
Yeah.
Like, just in general, I think the anime itself is very good looking. I think the animation flowed nicely. The backgrounds were great. Like, they're not as good as, say, Made in Abyss, but I think Made in Abyss has probably the best anime backgrounds I've ever seen. A lot of the monster designs, like Hawk said, were just fucking creepy. And I think that really helps it when not every monster design is... Like, you can have your cool monster designs. Like, you can have your hollow Ichigos or your nine-tailed foxes, but having a monster design where you look at it and there's just a visceral ugh that's very strong, and I feel like that should be played with a bit more in certain things, where if you're going to have your demon transformation or whatever, it should look like a demon. It should be uncomfortable. It should make you happy to look at it, you know?
Yeah, Yuji's transformation looks very itchy. Like, like want to scratch your fucking eyeballs type of stuff.
I mean,
which I assume is, but yeah, I guess that's all we have to say. Like, aside from like the opening song, kind of was like on the bridge of like, do I like this or not? Then I was like, yeah, I like it.
I feel like I could listen to that song more. I feel like it was pretty good. I am going to just jump ahead and give it a swim, which, you know, I'm surprised I've given out as many swims as I have so far, but yeah, it's a swim.
I agree. It's a swimmer for me.
Swims all around. Looks like this is open ocean, you know. Waves aren't too bad. Water's warm. I think I'm gonna have to swim too.
All right. See you guys in the next one.